Today we are learning about three-dimensional solid figures. Please copy the standard benchmark indicator on a clean page in your math notebook. The student will classify rectangular prisms, cones, cylinders, and pyramids.
Classifying solids. A solid is a three-dimensional figure or a figure that takes up space. The flat surfaces of a solid are called faces. The line where two faces come together is called an edge. The point where several edges come together is called a vertex. A solid whose faces are polygons is called a polyhedron. If two of the faces are parallel and congruent, the polyhedron is a prism. The parallel faces of a prism are the bases. It doesn't always have to be sitting on the base. Sometimes you'll see them and they're sitting on their side. So as you're looking and classifying the shapes, make sure you find the two opposite sides that are parallel and congruent, and those are your bases. A pyramid is a solid with one base. All of the other faces are triangles. Both prisms and pyramids can be named by the shapes of their bases. So if we look to the right, we have a triangular prism, a rectangular prism, and a pentagonal prism. They're all prisms because they have two bases, and the name changes based on what the base is. So in the first one, it's triangle. Second one, it's square or rectangle. Third one, it's a pentagon. In a triangular pyramid, the base is a triangle and all the sides are triangles. In a rectangular pyramid, the base is a rectangle and all the sides are triangles. And in a pentagonal pyramid, the base is a pentagon and all of the sides are triangles. Classify the solid. If it is a polyhedron, tell how many vertices, edges, and faces it has. The solid is made up of flat surfaces, so it is a polyhedron. It has two bases. They're at either end. It's actually laying on one of its sides here. And since it has two bases, it's a prism. The bases are rectangles, so it is a rectangular prism. There are 8 vertices, 12 edges, and 6 faces. So the figure is a rectangular prism with 8 vertices, 12 edges, and 6 faces. Try it. Complete the table to classify each solid. If it is a polyhedron, tell how many vertices, edges, and faces it has. So the first one we have there, the first thing we have to look at, we can tell it only has one base, and the base is a triangle. So that gives us a triangular pyramid. Vertices are the points where the edges come together. So if we count, we have 1 vertice at the top, and there's 3 along the base, so we have 4 total. For the edges, we're going to count where the 2 faces come together. So if we go ahead and count those, we can see that we have 6 edges, and then we have 4 sides, so we have 4 faces. The next one is a sphere, and this one's kind of a trick shape, as it were. It's not a polyhedron because it doesn't have any flat sides. So it does not have bases, it doesn't have a shape of the base, and it doesn't have vertices, edges, or faces. So we're going to write NA for not applicable. It doesn't apply. The third shape, we can tell it is a polyhedron. So the first thing we look at, does it have 2 sides that are parallel and congruent? Yes, it does. It's actually sitting on one of them, so it's sitting on the base. So we have 2 bases, and the shape of a base is a pentagon. So that gives us a pentagonal prism. Then we need to count the vertices where the edges come together. And there are 5 points on the bottom and 5 points on the top. So we have 10 vertices total. Then we count up the edges, so we need to count all of the lines, including the ones in the back and the ones at the top and the bottom. So if we count all of those up, we get 15 edges. Finally, we need to count the faces. We have 2 bases and 5 sides, so we have 7 faces total. Please make sure you have all of this copied down and glue this page in your math notebook.